The night pressed down on the valley like a living thing, thick, breathless, unforgiving. Moonlight barely reached the floor of the ravine, where 8 Navy SEALs lay pinned behind shattered rock and burned-out debris. 40 enemy fighters had them boxed in from 3 sides, firing from elevated ridges with brutal precision. Every time a SEAL shifted even an inch, tracer fire ripped the darkness open. Lieutenant Mark Hale clenched his jaw behind his rifle, sweat and dust streaking his face. His radio crackled with static. Air support was grounded, drones were blind, and extraction was hours away if it came at all. "We're bleeding time," the medic muttered, pressing gauze against a wound on another operator's shoulder. Ammo was running low. Morale was worse. Then Hale heard something that didn't belong to the chaos, a soft, controlled crack. Not the wild echo of enemy fire, but the clean, deliberate sound of a suppressed rifle point. One enemy fighter dropped from the ridge above them, collapsing without a sound. The SEALs froze. Another crack. Another enemy went down, this one tumbling forward like his strings had been cut. Hale keyed his mic. "All stations, hold fire. Identify shooter." Silence. Then a calm female voice came through, steady as stone. "Viper, Overwatch Online. Targets acquired." Hale's eyes widened. "Say again." "I've been watching you bleed for 12 minutes, the voice replied. "Didn't like the odds." Another suppressed shot. Another enemy fell. The SEALs watched in stunned disbelief as shapes on the ridgeline began dropping one by one. No panic firing, no wasted rounds. Just precision. "Who the hell are you?" Hale asked. "Name's classified," she answered. "But you can call me Ghost." From her hidden nest nearly 600 meters away, the woman's sniper lay motionless, her cheek welded to the stock of her rifle. Her breathing was slow, measured, 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out. Thermal optics painted the enemy like glowing silhouettes against the rock. She ignored the radio chatter, ignored the fact that 40 armed men were hunting the same valley she was alone in. Her world was reduced to crosshairs and consequence. Each shot mattered. She targeted commanders first, men barking orders, gesturing wildly. Then radio operators. Then machine gunners. With every trigger pull, the enemy formation fractured further on the ground. The SEALs began to move. "Advance on my mark," Ghost said quietly. 3-2, a shot rang out. 1. The SEALs surged forward, returning fire as the enemy scrambled in confusion. They had never seen anything like it. Every time an enemy tried to flank, Ghost was already there, anticipating, calculating, eliminating. An enemy RPG team tried to set up on the far ridge. Crack. Crack. Both went down before the launcher hit the ground. "Holy hell," one SEAL whispered. "She's painting the battlefield." Minutes stretched like hours. When the gunfire finally slowed, bodies lay scattered across the rocks. The remaining enemy fighters fled into the mountains, leaving their dead behind. The valley fell silent, except for the SEALs' heavy breathing. Hale keyed the radio again. "Ghost, you still with us?" "I never left," she replied. "Why help us?" he asked. There was a pause. "Because someone once left me behind," she said. "And I promised myself I'd never let it happen again." Extraction finally arrived at dawn. As helicopters lifted the SEALs out, Hale scanned the ridges, hoping to spot her, but Ghost was already gone. The only proof she'd ever been there was 40 enemy fighters who never made it home, and a question that burned in Hale's mind. Who was the woman who saved them all? Part 2. 3 days later, the SEAL team stood in a secured briefing room at an undisclosed base. Their wounds were bandaged, their gear cleaned, but none of them had slept properly since the mission. A senior commander entered the room, followed by a woman in civilian clothes. She was average height. No visible weapons. Hair tied back tight. Calm eyes that missed nothing. Hale felt his pulse spiked. It was her. The commander cleared his throat. "Gentlemen, meet Lieutenant Commander Evelyn Cross. Former sniper. Formerly classified." Ghost Cross didn't smile. "You weren't supposed to survive that valley," she said bluntly. "Command miscalculated enemy strength. You pay the price." The room went silent. "I was embedded nearby on a separate operation," she continued. "I heard your distress call. I chose to break protocol." One SEAL shook his head. "You took on 40 men alone." Cross shrugged. I had elevation, patience, and anger. Halistud. You saved our lives. She met his eyes. You would have done the same. The commander nodded. What she did will never be public. But every man in this room is alive because of her. Cross turned to leave, then paused. One more thing, she said. Next time command sends you in blind, question it. Then she was gone. That night, Hale recorded a message. Not official, not sanctioned. To whoever's listening, he said quietly, there are heroes you'll never hear about. Women who fight in the shadows so others can come home. For your YouTube signal, this powerful story belongs on your channel, Her Brave Stripes. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Her Brave Stripes for more emotional, heroic military stories. Backhand index pointing right, tell us in the comments. Where are you watching from? The first night after extraction felt unreal to Lieutenant Mark Hale. The desert dust was gone from his lungs, the ringing gunfire replaced by a quiet that pressed harder than the battle ever had. He lay awake on the cot inside the forward operations base, staring at the ceiling while the faces of fallen enemies replayed in his mind, not with guilt but with awe at the precision that had ended them. 40 men. Dropped one by one. By one woman, by ghost. Across the base, the rest of the SEAL team was just as restless. These were men trained to operate in silence, to move past death without looking back. But none of them could stop thinking about the calm female voice on the radio, the invisible guardian angel who had turned certain death into survival. T0, 300 hours. Hale was summoned. He entered a secure briefing room guarded by 2 armed Marines. Inside, a single projector glowed dimly. A senior intelligence officer stood beside it, hands folded, expression unreadable. Sit, the officer said. Hale obeyed. The screen flickered to life. A satellite image of the valley appeared, dotted with red markers. This is where you were pinned, the officer said. This is where the sniper was. Hale leaned forward. The distance made his stomach tighten. That's over 600 meters. Yes, the officer replied. In mountainous wind conditions. At night. Against moving targets. Halit slowly. Who is she? The officer hesitated. Officially, he said, she doesn't exist. Another image appeared. A younger woman in uniform. Her face was sharper then, eyes colder, posture rigid. Lieutenant Commander Evelyn Cross, the officer continued. Top 1%. Record-breaking sniper scores. First woman to pass 3 black programs most operators never even hear about. Why haven't we? Hale asked, because she became a liability. The word landed heavy. She disobeyed orders once, the officer said. Years ago, a team was left behind during a politically sensitive operation. Command deemed rescue non-viable. She disagreed. Hale's jaw tightened. She went in anyway, the officer continued. Alone, brought back 6 men, killed 17 hostiles, and exposed a decision that would have embarrassed a lot of powerful people. And for that, Hale asked, she was erased. The screen went dark, until she saved you, the officer said quietly. Hale stood slowly. Then why am I here? Because she asked for you, the officer replied. The safe house was unmarked, tucked between abandoned structures beyond the perimeter of the base. Hale was escorted alone. No weapon, no radio. Inside, the room smelled faintly of gun oil and black coffee. She stood by the window when he entered, civilian clothes again. No rank, no insignia, just presence. You shouldn't be here, she said without turning. You shouldn't exist, Hale replied, but a corner of her mouth lifted slightly. Sit, she said he did. She faced him now. Up close, Hale saw the exhaustion beneath her control. Scars fine pale along her hands. Eyes that had seen too much and cataloged all of it. Why me? He asked. Because you didn't freeze, she answered. Most men do when something breaks their understanding of the battlefield. He nodded slowly. You saved us. I corrected a mistake, she said. Yours wasn't the first team left to die, just the first I could reach in time. Hale leaned forward. Why stay hidden? Her gaze hardened. Because heroes are useful, she said. But inconvenient ones get buried. Silence settled between them. Then her radio crackled. She listened. One word came through, compromised. Cross was moving before Hale stood. "Follow me," she ordered. Outside, gunfire erupted. Enemy operators fast-trained, not local fighters, closed in from the dark. "Black gear. Suppressed weapons. Who are they?" Hale shouted. "The cleanup crew," Cross replied, already firing. She moved like she had in the valley, calm, lethal, precise. Two attackers went down before Hale fired his first shot. "They're here for you," he said. "They're here for the truth," she corrected. They broke through a rear exit, sprinting into the shadows. Bullets snapped past them. A grenade detonated, throwing dust and flame. Cross ducked, rolled, came up firing again. She was unstoppable. They reached a vehicle hidden beneath camo netting. "Drive," she snapped. Hale didn't. As they tore away into the night. The safe house burned behind them, didn't stop until sunrise. High in the mountains, Cross finally exhaled. "You see now," she said. "Why work alone?" Hale looked at her, dirt-streaked, blood on her sleeve that wasn't hers. "You shouldn't have to." She studied him for a long moment. "Then don't forget," she said. "Don't let them rewrite this." Weeks later, Hale stood before his team. No cameras. No records. He told them everything about Ghost. About Cross. About the lie they had survived. And every man in that room understood the same truth. That the war wasn't just fought on battlefield, it was fought in shadows, by people whose names would never be spoken. Far away, Evelyn Cross lay prone on another ridge, another night, another impossible angle. Her scope settled. Her breathing slowed. And once again, when soldiers were pinned down and hope was running out, a hidden woman sniper began dropping them one by one. For your YouTube, seeing all this story is. Written for your channel, Military Medal, Her Brave Stripes. If you believe in untold heroes and fearless women, subscribe to Her Brave Stripes. Backhand index pointing down, comment below, and tell us. Where are you watching from? Your support keeps these stories alive.